What's the strangest, scariest thing you've seen in the middle of the night?
Woke one night when I was about 5 years old. Was gazing around the room for a bit. I looked at the window and there, staring wide-eyed at me was a man. Hands pressed against the window, just staring with his head cocked to the side. Didn't even flinch when I noticed him. I hid under the covers, then peeked out to see if he moved. He was still there. I decided to just stay under the covers. I don't know why I didn't scream.
I live in a ground-level studio. My bed is near the window. I reached to turn off the bedside lamp and saw someone in a white hoodie through the gap in the blinds. I went, "What the hell?" and moved closer to get a better look and hopefully scare the creeper off. The person in the hoodie aggressively moved closer and put his face directly into the blind gap. I jumped back and he ran away. Installed a security camera the next day.
Saw a guy with a shotgun in my house. My brother and I were sleeping in the TV lounge. Woke up and saw a guy with shotgun near the front door. Thought it was a dream. But, just in case, I woke my bro up and asked him, "Who is that?" The guy heard us and ran out. We were 7 and 8 years old at the time.
Actually made me reach for my gun. My dog was standing on my bed growling and barks at something and I saw it move. Hit the light and it was his reflection in my TV. What a beep dope.
Got up to use the bathroom. I saw the shadow of a cat sprint down the hallway. Our cat had died over a year before that happened.
I shared an apartment with 2 roommates. One male, one female. Me and the other girl slept in the same room, because we are both girls, and the guy had the other room. One night I couldn't sleep. The door opened and the guy came sneaking in. He then lifted the blanket of my friend's bed and jerked off onto her feet, wiped it off and walked away. I was too scared to say anything while it happened. But I told her the next day and we moved out that same day.
I'm going to preface this with the important detail that all of the garages in the neighborhood that I grew up in were detached from the houses. Until I was about 12, my bedroom was on the ground floor of our house and my parents' room was right across the hall. We had a dog, Oreo, that we adopted when I was 2. When she was about 5 and I was about 7, she went blind. Around that time, she became the world's best watchdog, and this is why I believe that. It was the middle of winter when I was maybe 9 or 10, and there was snow on the ground. It was a quiet night. Oreo was restless, and we didn't know why. Her hearing seemed to improve immensely since she lost her vision and she would bark at kids playing down the road or the mailman 2 houses down. But it was close to midnight at this point, and the neighborhood was asleep. Oreo wasn't. She barked at our back door and scratched at it like someone was taunting her. Oreo paced from my room, to my parents' room, to the back door, again and again and again. It woke me and my mom up, and my mom finally got up and followed Oreo to the back door and coaxed her back to bed. The following morning, we wake up to some terrifying news. Our neighbors across the street lost their garage in a fire. The empty house for sale behind them completely burned down. The grown-ups around me are throwing around the word arson, and my mom explains to me that someone burned down the empty house, then our neighbor's garage. The police were following footprints in the snow. They never found who did it. Years later, my mom told me the rest. The footprints weren't lost after my neighbor's house. The footprints continued across the street, past our back door, and right through the narrow walkway between our garage and my room. Then they backtracked to the street and disappear. I don't know if the arsonist would have burned our house or our garage that night, but either way, Oreo woke us up and I think they knew that. She passed away last year at 16 and I miss her every day. She was my best friend and she never let anything happen to us, ever.
Didn't see it but heard it. For years after midnight I would always hear children playing in the distance. Couldn't ever see them but I could hear them. A couple years back was walking my dog on a late night stroll and I heard it closer than I ever have before. Like right next to me. Looked around and there was about 3 coyote about 100 feet away from. Apparently they sound like small children.
I've woken up 2x around 3 a.m. and my beagle is standing at the corner of the bed staring straight at the dark doorway growling. She never growls. This is literally the only 2x I've heard her growl, and I have no idea what she thinks is there.
About 3 a.m. on a deserted highway I drove by what looked like a body wrapped in a white sheet, discarded on the median. I took the next exit, drove back and took that exit, and came back. Passed it and parked a little ways up. It still looked like a body wrapped in a sheet. Got out to go look closer when I heard loud rustling in the scrub trees of the median, so jumped in my truck and drove off. Pre-cell phone so I didn't call police. I looked in the papers but never saw anything. When I've posted this before, I got chastised about being reckless. I know.
My cat screams at night. And not just any type of scream, like she sounds like a human baby when she screams. Anyway, the night this happened, it was also during a power outage, so the lights were flickering, and my sister is freaking out. We go and find the cat looking possessed and trying to attack us. Weird, because normally she is very affectionate towards us.
It was the middle of the night and I crawled to the end of my bed and looked out the second-story window in our farmhouse. Maybe 40 feet away and 20 feet up was a light blue, electric-looking ball of light about 6 feet by 6 feet. It slowly arched from left to right until it went behind my barn. The only thing I can think is it was this ball lightning, or I was dreaming, but I doubt it.
I hate that I opened this thread at 11:24 p.m., while in bed.
I'm not being funny when I say my sleep paralysis demon. I've had sleep paralysis 3 times and everything I saw and heard was terrifying. Did you know you can get sleep paralysis while sleeping on your stomach? I didn't. I thought it would prevent that. It felt like someone was watching me the entire time and was going to stab me in the back. And I couldn't move. I could barely breathe. My eyes were wide open trying to look behind me. I don't know what causes sleep paralysis, but I'm glad I don't get it often.
A mountain lion glaring at me right against my window.
Not something I saw exactly but felt. I was maybe 10 and I woke in the middle of the night to something whooshing past my head. When I turned on the light, my pillow was on top of my dresser. I'm sure I must have thrown it in my sleep, but it scared the crap out of 10-year-old me.
Beautiful clear night in the suburbs of Baltimore in the 70s. I was a kid chasing lightning bugs, then I noticed a blue sphere in the sky. Small at first, a fraction of the diameter of the moon, but it grew larger in size. As it grew, I could see dark and light sections. The dark sections looked like craters. It kept growing and was many times larger than the moon. My father was drunk and couldn't tell me what it was. That was before the internet. All I could imagine was that a planet was rapidly approaching Earth and that we were all going to die. I fell asleep scared to death under my bed. And woke up the next morning just fine. My teacher in school explained that NASA had launched a rocket into the atmosphere that released a dye that allowed observers to see how the atmosphere moved. In the end, it wasn't scary at all. But while it was happening, I was sure I was going to die.
I was camping at a primitive campsite with a family member about 9 years ago. We went during the week, and upon entering the area, the person checking us in informed us we were the only people in the primitive section that night, which is about 4 miles away from the other non-primitive camping areas and any form of civilization. There was only one road to get in and out, so we would see anyone headed our way. My family member fell asleep quickly, but I had gotten a weird feeling as the night got darker. No cars had drove on the road by us, so I don't believe any humans were around. I could hear something crunching in the brush about 30 yards away, but hoped it was a deer as they are common in the area. As I was trying to be rational, telling myself there are no large predators besides coyotes in the area, something let out a terrifying scream roar like I've never heard before or since. It shook me to my core and wasn't close to sounds of a coyote, raccoon, bear, or even a human. My family member woke up in a commotion and we heard something running away heavily in the brush. We grabbed the essentials and sprinted to the car and drove around until morning.
A gun in my face.
May your day be filled with joy and happiness. And please remember to subscribe to Upvote for the best quality content every day.